It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
I think Tony Stark said it best.
Oh, it's good to be back.
A Quiet Place Part 2 was directed and written by John Krasinski, bringing back Emily Blunt, Noah Jupe, Millicent Simmons, and introducing Cillian Murphy. Set immediately after the events of the first film, when a mysterious signal comes through the radio, our family of survivors of the monster apocalypse believe that there could be more survivors out there and must travel through this quiet place, encountering another round with these monsters in search of them. So this movie's been out for a little while now, but my theater just reopened yesterday, so I finally got a chance to check it out. I believe this is actually the last movie in theaters that I was gearing up to get ready to watch before the pandemic hit. So it was kind of poetic that when the movie theaters opened up, I just kind of started where I left off. And if you saw my first review for A Quiet Place, then you know that I love that movie. I think that movie is a horror classic already. And so I was really looking forward to A Quiet Place Part 2, but I was also really nervous for A Quiet Place Part 2 because of how the last film ended. In case you haven't seen it, which if you're watching this review, I'm assuming you have seen A Quiet Place. At the end of the movie, they discover how to defeat the monsters. They find a frequency that's able to break through their armor, and thus they are vulnerable and able to be killed. And where Quiet Place Part 2 picks up from that, I was really nervous that that was kind of going to lower the intensity and the stakes that the first one had, since we now know that there's a way to defeat these creatures. And for the most part, I will say that A Quiet Place Part 2 did lack the same intensity and suspensefulness that the first film had, because there is a way to defeat these monsters now. John Krasinski does find a way to work around that, and he does create some really thrilling and exciting sequences out of it. The benefit, though, that does come out of these monsters being able to be defeated and having them on screen more than we had them on screen in the first film, is that A Quiet Place Part 2 is much heavier on the action than the first film was. The opening of the movie has been seen in all the trailers, where they go back to the day of the invasion, the day that the monsters landed on Earth, and it's the best scene in the whole movie. John Krasinski did an incredible job of making that feel like a real world event. It feels very realistic, the way that these monsters come and how the community that they then terrorize react to these monsters. Getting on to the cast of A Quiet Place Part 2, if A Quiet Place belonged to the adults, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, then this movie belongs to the child actors Noah Jupe and especially Millicent Simmons. These child actors get so much more to do, and this time around I did feel like Emily Blunt got the back seat to these child actors. But being a continuation of the first film, we also see these children grow in this movie. They had to take on a lot more responsibility, and now that their father is no longer there, they're kind of stepping into their father's shoes. Noah Jupe's character has to step up and kind of become the man of the house and watch over Emily Blunt, whereas Millicent Simmons, she has to be the courageous one and go out and do the heroic deeds that she knows her father would do, that she's inspired by. And I really like seeing those characters get some growth and get some character arcs that carry on from the first film. And the inclusion of Cillian Murphy in this movie slips right on in. He almost feels like he's going to be taking over John Krasinski's role when he first comes into this movie, but they slowly do away with that. They don't repeat what John Krasinski brought to the first film, and he ends up being a really great companion alongside Millicent Simmons. The shortcomings I do have about A Quiet Place Part 2 is I do feel like the film kind of has a very thin story, and I did feel like they were trying to stretch it out a bit to get a full-on movie out of it. The first A Quiet Place also didn't have that strong of a story. It was very much, the strength of it was the concept that they built around and the family dynamic that they have throughout the movie. But this movie kind of splits that family up more so than the first film did. They're not really a unit in this movie as much as they were in the first film. So you kind of lose that special family dynamic that made the first A Quiet Place so special and so unique. And I won't lie, it was kind of a bummer to see that dynamic kind of break apart for this movie. But even with all that said, A Quiet Place Part 2, if A Quiet Place was great, which I believe it is, then A Quiet Place Part 2 is good. I don't think it's better than the first one, but as far as a sequel goes for that movie, this is a very solid entry. And without giving too much away, I did feel like the ending of this movie felt a little anticlimactic and a little bit abrupt. It definitely felt like they were like, yeah, we're gonna do a Part 3. Come on back for Part 3. Which, hey, if they want to turn this into a Quiet Place trilogy, I am all for that. I don't think you should expect to have the same experience duplicated with this film. Even my theater experience was different from the first one. There were people talking, there were people chewing, like it was not the same, like everyone felt like they needed to be dead silent during the film. Because there is more dialogue in this movie. It's not as silent as the first one was. But hey, if you didn't like reading the subtitles in the first film, then you actually might end up liking this one more. I definitely don't think that we're done in this world, and I can't wait to see where else they'll take this story. What did you guys think of A Quiet Place Part 2? Have you checked it out yet? Comment down below, let me know. I want to know all your thoughts and opinions about this movie. And also be sure to sound off in the comment section below which A Quiet Place you prefer, Part 1 or Part 2. If you like talking movies, TV, and all things entertainment, then why don't you go on and click that subscribe button, click that like button, click that notification bell, all that YouTube stuff, so that you don't miss an upload, and I hope to see you guys again real soon. As always, guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. Once again, my name's Zach Milne. Thank you for talking movies with me, and hope you have yourself a great day.